Lesson 120. This is for those of you diehards who are going to do the last math lesson, even though it's not required. You will not need to know how to do this for next year, so might as well. Okay, so you're multiplying mixed numbers. The trick to this is you can't do it. So this whole lesson's for nothing. No, not really. You have to change these to improper fractions. You cannot multiply mixed numbers as they are, okay? So you have to turn them into improper fractions. So let's review a minute on how to do that. I've got 2 1/3, and I know that 2 is 1 plus 1 plus 1/3, right? So there's my 2 plus 1/3, so it equals 7/3 if I add them all up, right? 1, 2, and 1/3. So in order to do that, I can multiply the whole number by the denominator, 2 times 3, and then add the numerator, and I'll get 7. I just keep the denominator the same. Okay, so we'll see a little bit more on that. Okay, so I know I want to multiply this, but I can't. So I'm going to change both of those fractions to improper fractions. Sorry, both of those mixed numbers to improper fractions. So I say 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Keep the denominator the same. 1 times 4 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Keep the denominator the same. And then I just multiply straight across, just like you do any old fraction. So 7 times 5 is 35. 3 times 4 is 12. Well, now I have an improper fraction, so I'm going to simplify or reduce that. I know that it's a division problem. I also know that 1, 2, so there's 12 over 12 plus 12 over 12. And then I have 11 left over. So I know that 35/12 is the same as 2 and 11/12. So I've simplified that. So that's a little bit of a hard one to start with. Let's go with an easier one. Example 1 is 1/5 times 4 1/2. Remember, can't do it, gotta change it. Okay, so 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So my 1/5 times 9/2, and then I can just multiply straight across. 1 times 9 is 9, 5 times 2 is 10, so my answer is 9/10. So 4 times 2, 8, plus 1, makes it 9, okay? Oh, one more. Okay, example 2. They gave me a whole number times a mixed number. Okay, remember, can't do it. Got to change it to an improper fraction. And that's not even a fraction, so we'll have to change that one too. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Keep the denominator the same, so it turns into 7/3. And what do I do about that 3? I want it to be a fraction. If I add a 1 underneath as a denominator, that's the same thing, right? So I can always just add a 1 underneath a whole number and make it a fraction. So now I have a fraction, 3 over 1, and another improper fraction, so it's not a mixed number anymore. So now I can just multiply straight across. 3 times 7 is 21, 1 times 3 is 3. I have an improper fraction. Now I need to simplify or reduce it. So remember that that's a division problem, isn't it? Any fraction is a division problem. So if I have this, I know that the top number, the numerator, goes in the box as the dividend. The bottom number goes on the outside of the box as the divisor. So 3 will go into 21 7 times. So that's how I can reduce it. Pretty simple stuff. The trick to remember is you cannot multiply or divide mixed numbers. You have to change them first. You think you can take some shortcuts, but you can't. Well, you guys, it's been lots of fun, and I hope 6th grade treats you wonderfully well.